Clinton XL 92.5 FM.
All right, we welcome you in. Today's new drug is a little bit of a hump day as we continue along. We thank our friends from Coyle & Sons Fence Company, always our sponsor on a Wednesday, and it's the best fence company around. If you want a new fence, residential, commercial, nobody does a better job than my friends at Coyle & Sons, and they are our Wednesday sponsor every day on the program. Frangie and Carlyon here. JJ LaSelva. Oh, you're all dressed up. Yeah,
I know. This is going to be a new me.
Yeah. You know what?
I'm going to start wearing, what is it, a triple-breasted suit?
Triple-breasted.
And maybe go seersucker on Tuesdays, just to lighten it up a little. I'm working on getting a suit with tails.
Yeah, let me just say this. Triple-breasted seersucker with tails, you're the one guy that could pull that off. I think you're the one guy. So, all right, all kind of stuff to get to today. I love the buzz that Patrick Zalupski, a local guy, if you live in Jacksonville, you know all about Dreamfinders, a fantastic company, big sponsor of the radio station, big sponsor of the Jaguars, a wonderful home building company. I don't know Patrick, but I know tons of people that do and say he's a wonderful guy and obviously wonderfully successful, that he may buy the Rays. That story.
Advanced talks. It seems like it's inside the 2-yard line from the stories you read about it.
Yeah, and I
probably should have used a baseball pun.
You know what though? That was perfect for you. Okay, you could have gone rounding third base.
Yeah.
But why would you do that?
Yeah,
if we are a football show station, whatever. So
we are who we are.
We are who we are. And Ken Babby apparently is in that group, according to who's a good friend, and we all know Ken very well, the owner of the Jumbo Shrimp. Other people that you don't know, and apparently, I'm just going by what we read in the stories. I'm just reciting a wire story to you. There's some Tampa investors as well.
So would the plan, you think, be to just build and stay in that market?
I can't imagine that there would be any plan other than to build in Tampa, not St. Pete. And again, I'm guessing. I have no insight on this. I don't want to misrepresent it, but I can't imagine whether Patrick buys it or anybody else bought it, that the plan would be to do anything other than try and build in Tampa. That thing hasn't failed in Tampa from a standpoint of attendance. It hasn't failed in Tampa until it fails in Tampa. It failed miserably in St. Petersburg for all the reasons. Number one, Stu Sternberg, whose teams, by the way, they're good again this year. They have a good team, but whose teams have been good because he's hired really good front office people, but they've never stayed good or as good as they could be. They've never won a title because he won't put money into it. Well, if this new group does, that's a great market for baseball. St. Pete's a lousy market, but the team wasn't good. You know the story. The stadium's no good. Have you been to the stadium, JJ? Have you been?
Oh, many times, unfortunately.
You've been to the Trop plenty, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been to the Trop.
Very close to Ocala.
Yeah, I've been to the Trop a few times. Not plenty, but I've been a few times. And so
it just doesn't have the feel of a baseball game. It's very weird. And, I get it. It rains a lot in Florida, but you need some sunshine, and it feels very awkward in there.
Yeah, and even if you do what the Marlins did, you build a beautiful stadium that you can cover when you want. It's retractable.
Yeah.
You still... It's not a very good place to watch. And Tampa is a great sports city. Tampa has enough. People have asked me, Steve and I were just talking about it a minute ago, and I've heard people talk about it all around town. Since Patrick's a Jacksonville guy, lives in Jacksonville, has a mega successful company in Jacksonville, big Jaguar sponsor, 10-10 sponsor, the whole bit. Would the team come to Jacksonville? That's an obvious question. And what a fun question. I can't imagine a more fun question than, hey, can we get baseball? For me? You kidding me? A diehard baseball guy? It's the most fun question in the world. The reality of that is I don't think Jacksonville could ever support a volume game sport. To support a volume game sport, meaning that baseball has 81 home games. Hockey teams and basketball teams have 41 home games. To support that, you have to have Fortune 500 companies. We have 4. Because Steve, I just looked it up. I was in Steve Griffin's office. We just looked it up. I knew it was 3 or 4. You knew CSX. You knew Fidelity. And I think there's now 2 versions of Fidelity. I think the Guidewell, which I think is the Florida Blue folks, that's about it. I might be missing one. But there's about 3 Fortune 500 companies. And you need significant corporate impact if you're going to sell season tickets for a team that has 80 home games. And that's why I think the reason I think Nashville will get the next Major League Baseball team is Nashville has enough corporate growth, corporate Fortune 500 companies, whatever, that they could support a third professional franchise or third major league franchise, two of which are volume game sports. They've got hockey already, and then I think they could support baseball. Everybody believes they could support baseball. You and I were having a conversation with John Devers. We were walking out of the stadium a minute ago. Where's baseball going next? There are 30 teams. Everybody knows they're trying to get to 32 teams. And so Nashville, by all accounts, the two cities that were going to go next were Vegas and Nashville. Well, Vegas has its team now. The Yays are going to be there eventually. So Nashville's next up. And then after that, it's Montreal, Portland, Charlotte, the usual suspects, I would say. So I don't think Jacksonville could, and again, someone may prove me wrong on this, but I don't think Jacksonville has enough corporate sponsorships to afford to bring a baseball team. It did run through my mind, though, because I thought, okay, what's Wrigley hold? 35, JJ? 35? I know.
Look it up.
PNC's 36, I think.
Right now, the Cubs are averaging 36,401. Okay.
So that's about what it blew. So it holds mid-30s. Fenway's probably in the 30s. I know PNC's in the 30s. I would imagine, and the Trop before it blew up, before the natural disaster took it down, they had tarped some seats where capacity was 25, and they still didn't. But I guess there's my point is, JJ, there's a bunch that are in the 30s, right? You don't have to be in the 50s or 60s in Major League Baseball.
No, but I feel like more of the newer ones are
bigger.
Yeah, like Fenway and Wrigley, it's because they're so old, But I feel like if I looked up like Texas's new stadium or something like that, they're probably pretty big.
Yeah, but I would guess this,
like 40. Like I think the Braves is probably around 40 or 45. That's brand new.
Yeah, I would guess big in baseball is 45.
Yeah, not 80.
Not right. I mean, Jerry's World seats 100 for football, so I would think big in baseball. But anyway, but I got to be honest, it did run through my mind. Well, okay. It doesn't make much sense. There's not enough Fortune 500s. I don't think it's ever going to happen here. And I don't think that was, my guess is that's not the plan here. But what if you slapped up a little 28? Can I do that, Ace? What if I slapped up a little 20 right over there in that river? There's got to be a place over there. For 28, I mean, I got a garage bigger than that. I mean, if you slap that up, right?
Absolutely.
Slap up a little 28 over there.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, like we've talked about. Could you do it? It's a blank canvas, so you could certainly do it logistically if you wanted to. It's, to your point, though, it's can you get to a place where you're averaging, like, just to give you an idea, Toronto is 15th right now in attendance. They're averaging basically 29,000 a game.
Right. And they're middle of the pack.
And they're middle of the pack. So what would be the expectation of what could Jacksonville do in terms of average attendance? And I don't want to, I would think my expectations would be lower than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think, what would you say is fair? Like 20,000 maybe?
And
if it's 20,000, you're 26th in baseball.
Yeah. And I would think, and I do, again, it's a really fun topic. Mm-hmm. But if you're trying to be honest about the fun topic, I don't think there's much chance that a city with 3 Fortune 500 companies or 4 is ever going to have a major.
And of course, MLB would have to allow it.
That's correct. Right. But I don't think you're.
I would imagine the plan is simply buy them and build a new facility in Tampa.
Correct, in Tampa
and thrive there.
And everybody has long said. I say everybody. Many that follow this stuff closely have often said, if you build a stadium in that Ybor City area, kind of where the arena is not exactly in Ybor City, but it's right there in that Harborside area. That Harborside Ybor area, you know that area, JJ. I bet you.
Oh yeah, and I love going to hockey games there too. Right. It's always popping. There's always stuff to do. There's just people.
Yeah, and apparently the owner of the Lightning, Jeffrey Vinnick, I think is his name, is a very engaged, involved owner. Whereas Sternberg is not engaged in the community. But build a stadium, and there is room, by the way. The two conversations in Tampa, one, you'd build it out by the fairgrounds, which is near the expressway near 75, and the other is you'd build it right there. Well, you build it in Ybor City. You have to build it where that arena is, where all the people are, where all the hotels are, and I think what you'd wind up doing is that's where you would land. But I think baseball would succeed. I think baseball would succeed. So if Patrick Zalupski and Ken Babby and a bunch of those folks really do buy the team and they are involved. And I'll say this: Ken knows how to run baseball. He's done a marvelous job with the jumbo shrimp here after buying it from Peter Bragan Jr. So he knows how to do it, and so as Pedro did. So yeah, it'll be a fun story to follow. There's nothing more fun than talking about a new pro team, major league team coming to Jacksonville. I don't think that's the plan. And without knowing more than I know, I'd be surprised if that's the plan. But hey, it'll be cool either way. We'll talk more about this later on in the program. But I've got to be honest. Let me tell you my first thought. My first thought when I saw the story, when I picked up my phone and saw the story, my first thought was, I hope it falls through. Then go buy my team, for God's sake. Okay, buy my team, JJ. Patrick,
That's so
I don't know Patrick.
Selfish of you,
yes, I'm selfish. It's wonderfully selfish. And again, I don't know Patrick Zalewski, but I will tell you, I probably know 7 or 8 people that know Hicken among them that know him really well, and he's supposed to be a fabulous guy. So, Patrick, you don't know me. We have a lot of mutual friends. My name's Frank. I live here in town.
Paul Skeens? Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, have you heard of Paul Skeens? And if this one falls through, can we talk? That's where if it falls through, can we go up there?
Well, $1.7 billion wouldn't be enough for Bob Nutting. I mean, he's got to worry about his daughter.
Yeah, you know what? You laugh, but that's exactly right. That's exactly the damn problem. So if we go buy my team or buy both of them, how about that? We'll do that. But it's a fun story, and we'll certainly track it if again, a Dreamfinders owner, Patrick Zalewski, winds up buying the Rays. And by the way, I think he'd be a great owner. I think, and I'll bet you they would do very well. It's already a good franchise. They know what they're doing.
I was going to say, I mean, imagine if you get an owner there that's aggressive,
willing to spend anything.
With the way they've built the front office, they would be a perennial contender. You would imagine in a brutal division.
Yeah, but they are, and they're good, again this year. I mean, they're 7 games over after a little bit of a rocky start. So. I mean, they're right there this year, so they've done a really good job. So we'll talk more about that as we come. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Brett Hastings is going to join us. Sports and Courts. Interesting topic. Shaquille O'Neal was being sued essentially by someone that said because of a company he endorsed, which is a really interesting story, which got everybody, people like us included, can you be at fault if you endorse a company that does something bad?
Because this was crypto, right?
Yeah. It was the whole FTX thing, and we'll explain kind of what it means. But Brett will break it down. But it's a different kind of legal story that certainly involves the sports world. We'll talk about it after this. It's 1010 XL and 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Sweet.
Summer.
On
1010.
XL.
Sweet. 1010. XL.
Summer.
This is Hayes Carline for Atlantic Infinity. If you're shopping for a new ride, you've got to check out Atlantic Infinity. Not only do you get a luxury vehicle, you also get the Atlantic Infinity Promise free with every new car. That's almost $2,500 in added value just for buying smarter, and you don't have to sweat it out on the lot. Shop in their indoor, climate-controlled showroom. It's cool, comfortable, and hassle-free. They're on Atlantic near St. John's Bluff, or browse anytime at AtlanticInfinity.com.
Hi, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass, there's one name I trust, and that's Lee & Case Glass. Mirrors, custom showers, tabletops, even foggy glass windows, they handle all that. And they've been doing it right since long before I ever picked up a mic. Local, family-owned, and part of this community, just like we are. They've taken great care of me, including our brand-new walk-off offices. Guys, they did a great job, and I promise they'll do the same for you. Lee & Case, it's the clear choice. Check them out at leeandcaseglass.com.
I'm Chris Campione. Veterans have given so much in the service of our country, but when it comes to legal challenges, you shouldn't have to fight alone. At Campione Law, we're here to help veterans like you get the support and compensation you deserve. Whether it's a workplace injury, a personal injury claim, or navigating a veteran's disability claim, we'll stand by your side every step of the way. Your service to our country matters. Let us serve you with the dedication and respect you deserve. Call Campione Law for a free consultation today. Campione Law, fighting for veterans, fighting for justice. Visit CampioneLaw.com.
Campione Law. With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Hacker here. Y'all know I needed to do something about my weight. When I saw Matt and Mike eating to lose weight, I figured that could probably work for me. And it did. Just look at me now. If you need a weight loss plan that works, visit Awaken180weightloss.com.
All aboard the Combine, Free Agency, the Draft.
Here we go.
Ride the off-season like a locomotive with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Might want to buckle up, baby.
AA Automotive on Richard Street. Family run since 1954. Got a leaky faucet? AC blowing hot air? No worries. Duck Duck Rooter has your back. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beards has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beards now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beards can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol, Beards Diamonds, at St. John's Town Center.
Pacifico, discovered by accident.
Yeah, the story goes, a group of friends went down to Mexico looking for some legendary waves. They never found them. But what they did find was something even better, an unforgettable Mexican lager.
Where'd you hear that?
Tell your next great story with a friend and a delicious Pacifico Mexican lager.
Pacifico, find your own way.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts. Legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Brett Hastings is here as we move along. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Doing great.
How's everything?
Yeah.
Are you buying season tickets for the Jacksonville Rays or no?
Yeah, I'm like I told you. I just hope we get some spring training games up here, right? Ken Babby, get them in town. That would be super cool.
You know, Brett made an interesting point. Like I said, we joked about it, but I don't think there's much likelihood that the Jacksonville's going to have a major league team. But I didn't think about that. Right now we are the Marlins AAA affiliate. Well, if Ken Babby's one of the owners of the Rays, you certainly could flip then, and then you wonder, could you do spring training here? Right now they do it in where are they? Port Charlotte. Where are they now? They're They're on the West Coast. They're south of Tampa. Is it Port Charlotte? Somewhere north.
I have no doubt. When I have a baseball question, I'll call you.
Yeah, they're in Port Charlotte. Let's play here. Wouldn't it be great if we could? Yeah. Now, again, to have spring training in Jacksonville, you couldn't just have one team. Somebody would have to go to Daytona. Somebody would have to go to Lake City, so they'd have people to play.
Right.
You don't want those players driving an hour and a half every day to play at a game during spring training. That's why Arizona's so good, because they're all really close together. Yeah. So, but anyway.
Yeah, get the Rays. Go get my boy Jack Caglione. Give me some spring training games. It'll be great.
It's that easy. That's how it happens.
It's that easy, yeah. Give me Skeens and Caglione, and we'll be good.
And I'm sure the Royals they'd probably trade them. They drafted them in the top 5 to trade them. Hey, let's talk a little bit about. Tell me about the whole story with Shaq getting sued, the whole FTX thing. Give me the overview of what we're talking about here.
All right. So, as some people may know, and we don't need to go into all of the details, but FTX was this cryptocurrency company. The CEO was indicted, convicted, is in jail for 20 years. And, without going into great detail, there was tons of fraud, a whole lot of misrepresentations as it related to the company. Okay. Over, just sort of historically, whenever, celebrities endorse companies, typically they don't know that much about it, right? They're kind of giving them their name, image, and likeness, and they go along with it. So we haven't really seen much in the way of liability. We haven't seen lawsuits that have been successful in those regards, for somebody who's been a celebrity that's paired up with a company.
Right.
What's interesting in this one is the settlement has to be approved. You have to have these settlements approved. You can't just dismiss things in federal court. So we know that Shaq went ahead and settled for $1.8 million.
Right.
On behalf of this suit. So this suit's been probably brought for a whole bunch of these other investors that have been defrauded. There's still David Ortiz, Steph Curry, Gisele Bündchen, Tom Brady. Yeah. They're all in it. And what's interesting is actually a lot of the claims against them were just recently dismissed. So, I think in large part, a lot of this was strategic. I mean, hey, Shaq literally promotes more products, I think, than anybody. Him and Peyton Manning, right? They're in a race to do it.
Places, yeah.
So I think this might have been a cost of defense. How much money are we going to spend in this for how long to get some closure or anything done? But at least it's interesting because he went ahead and acknowledged that and paid 7 figures. What I think we'll see are the days of almost when somebody was going to go out and endorse a product and they're a celebrity. Really, it was sort of national advertising, right? Somebody's with Chevrolet or McDonald's or what have you. But there's a whole new realm, really, with social media and other stuff where there's really a lot more in the way of specifics that people give that are endorsers. And so that's where I think some liability comes. And then here's the big one, okay? A lot of pro athletes are taking equity in companies. If you take equity in a company, then you're probably going to get meetings from a board. You're going to know other things that are going on in the company, and that's where liability is going to be created. We know that LeBron and several other, recent athletes have been real strong to go in and say, hey, I'll get together with Vitamin Water or Dre Beats or whatever these companies are, and they've taken equity in them, and really they've taken these companies to the next level. But once you're in the boardroom and you know what they're selling, and if what they're selling is fraudulent or there's a misrepresentation, that's where we might see some more liability. So this issue with Shaq, we got to see the way it plays out. But I think in the world of reels and people going on to Joe Rogan and saying, I use this product and I've lost all this weight, or they take some equity in it, we're going to see more and more liability for celebrities.
And was Shaq, did he have equity in the crypto company?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I think the facts are really bad for this case. Remember, he's paying $1.8 million, but I'll guarantee every listener out there, there's still no admission of liability on this. They're not saying anything, and the paperwork probably says, in light of all the different factors, ongoing litigation costs and the other, we're going to pay this money and we want to release and we want to get out of the lawsuit. So he hasn't admitted to knowing something wrong. And in this instance, I would doubt Shaq knew too much in the way of the specifics. From everything that I'd found out about FTX, the amount of money that was being paid to these celebrities was over the top. The CEO was an over the top, grandiose type personality. So I think that's a little bit of what was going on there. And really the thing that was interesting with FTX is how many companies have this many big celebrities endorsing them, right?
Right. Yes.
I mean, that's a lot. You know, typically most are aligned with 1 to 2, right?
And these are A-listers now.
Right.
Point. But it begged another question for me that I wrote down here, but you're very thorough as always. You might have already answered it. Maybe it may come down to whether the endorser is one of the owners of the company. But it did make me wonder, seriously, if somebody's driving a Lincoln and it malfunctions and they die, or can they sue Matthew McConaughey? I'm not asking it for frivolously either. I mean, I'm asking the question very seriously. Can they sue a national endorser who said, hey, this is the best car on the market, you should buy it?
If that person has no real knowledge about how they build the vehicle or do anything else, I don't think there is.
So Shaq probably settled a case that he would have won, but he settled it for $1.8 million because for him, that's probably not money that he will miss.
Right.
And it's certainly money he can make back by going to do another endorsement with some other company.
Right.
But do you think that had he wanted to play it out on principle, he would have lost the case?
I think he'd have really pretty strong arguments, especially in light of the recent dismissals of some of the claims against the other celebrities. You know, one of the things that we talk about practicing law all the time is the cost of defense, right? And so principle, you know, you just use the word, clients use it all the time or what have you. But, you know, if I called anybody up here and said, hey, I've got a great investment for you, you give me $8, I'll get you $5 back. Nobody wants a part of that. And so because there's a cost of defense and maybe there's not an opportunity here to get your attorney's fees back, to get the things that you expend, there's a decision to say, let's get some closure. Let's minimize what our costs are as it relates to it. Let's put FTX behind us. You know, and I say it all the time in the practice of law, and it's important in all of our lives, but there is a value to closure. And so I think it's that combination or the reason.
What were they looking for from Shaq? Was it like $25 million that he was being sued for?
You know, typically in these types of situations, you don't say the exact amount.
Okay.
You just say the amount is greater than what the jurisdictional amount is. And then, quite frankly, you go and conduct a whole bunch of discovery and try to figure out what's the highest amount of money that you think you could go and get on behalf of your client. So they didn't sue for a specific amount. What they were suing to say is that these endorsers essentially had knowledge, made representations. The people who invested relied on, you know, their representations to their detriment. They were damaged. And then they try to get in there, conduct some measure of discovery and come up with a theory to say, hey, what's the most amount of money we can get for our clients?
Brett, to that end, in typical civil cases, would the attorney for the plaintiff who's trying to win the case, I would think how much, for lack of a better way to say it, how much money the defendant has is a big part of that. Does it work like that or no?
As a plaintiff's lawyer, that's all he tries to do every day.
Yeah.
You can never discuss how much money the defendant has in a case. And if there's one thing I'd like every listener out there to listen, is whenever we go to trial in any personal injury case, the other person always has insurance. Always has insurance. There's always a corporation who's going to stand up and pay for it, but the jury never, ever gets to know about that in the case. And the reason why is we want to decide the case on the total amount. But I can tell you, having done what I've done for 20 years, there are two types of cases that we typically bring in a personal injury context. Most of them are auto cases, right? Auto cases where I sue Hayes Carline and he might have $5 million in insurance coverage. Nobody gets to know. Sometimes we bring what are called cases, which are uninsured or underinsured. So if the person hits you and say you have a $100,000 claim, but they have $10,000 of insurance, your own insurance kicks in. In that instance, the named defendant is Progressive or State Farm or whatever, and juries will award damages differently. If they think, hey, here's this good-looking Hayes Carline guy, he's just a nice guy and a dad, and they're trying to, ask for $1.5 million to make them whole, they'll moderate that. Progressive, these insurance companies, nobody likes them or cares about them. And so if you prove it, they'll assign an amount that's fair and just, and it might be that amount of money. So, they don't get to know how much money they have, but a lot of times just knowing who the defendant is, right?
Yeah,
if it's Dream Finders, they may not view it the same way as, little old lady from, the West Side.
Yeah, common sense would tell me that what you said, you answered it perfectly. By law, that can't be in play.
Right.
But common sense says it would be.
100%. But to answer your question, you don't get to go in and say, hey, we're only seeking $1 million in damages, and they got $500 million, you know? So
the reason I asked this, back to this case, okay, so Shaq had to settle. What about Brady and Giselle and all these people that I'm assuming have way more money than, maybe not way more money than Shaq, but similar money to Shaq? Right. Well, do you expect that we're going to see more about this? I mean, they were all investors too, right? Or endorsers too, I should say.
I think you'll see them pay monies that are closer to that and being the cost of defense and not hear what they may be seeking in the lawsuit, because based on the dismissals, I don't think they're overly strong cases unless they've got board meetings, emails, texts where people were made aware. But I can't fathom that any of those celebrities would remain involved in the case if they said, hey, I want to let you know this is essentially a Ponzi scheme and we're defrauding everybody, but just keep doing what you're doing, Tom, because the money's flowing in. And so I think in this instance, and from what I know about it, there was a very few people in the inner circle who knew what was actually going on there. And they were really aggressive personalities and went out and quite frankly, overpaid for access to some of these celebrities. And I think that's what all these celebrities are going to learn out of it. If somebody comes to me on an endorsement deal and the pricing and the standard is so far out of whack from everything else in the market, maybe this isn't legit.
It'll be interesting to see. Great work as always. That's Brett Hastings. He's from the Hastings Injury Law Firm, and that is Sports and Courts. Brett, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this baseball deal. I got a fun Jaguar topic we're going to do at the top of the hour. But we've got more stuff to do about this possible Rays sale after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It's hard to forget Dan Hicken.
You're thinking about him again, aren't you? What was his name?
Dan Hicken.
Yes.
You just can't forget about him, can you?
Who?
Dan Hicken.
Oh, yes.
Mornings on 1010XL.
No, I can't.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
This is Hayes Carlion for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Okay, here we go with our final lightning round on Potty Talk. Top 3 answers on the board. Ready? Okay. The best way to save money when your faucets or pipes are leaking.
Roland Reese Plumbing.
Something to help you avoid clogged sewers and drains.
Roland Reese Plumbing.
The technical term for that ba-whoosh sound when a toilet flushes correctly.
Roland Reese Plumbing.
Roland Reese Plumbing is always the right answer. Roland Reese Plumbing, 260-7059.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. You've heard us talk about it. Window World, the #1 window replacement company in the USA, selling over 1 million windows each year for the past 8 years.
That's a lot of satisfied customers, and why J.D. Powers has awarded Window World Best in Customer Satisfaction 3 out of 4 years.
Window World stands behind their slogan, simply the best for less. With Window World, you get top quality windows at a price that leaves more of your money in your bank account, and you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement industry. When compared to our competition, there is none. See for yourself. Call the competition. Get quotes from them. But before you buy, get Window World's free estimate and compare the quality of the windows and the price.
You'll see.
And when your new Window World windows are installed and they're saving you money on your energy bills, if anything goes wrong with those windows, Window World and I will be there to make it right. That's my guarantee.
Call Window World today. Start saving money on your new windows and your energy bills and take vacation with your savings. Window World, online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors and siding.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we got to bring my thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Spend an evening with heart. One night, 2 sets. A journey through the hits and timeless classics. June 24th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com. Don't miss an evening with Heart live.
Family owned and managed for 20 plus years, Hidden Hills Golf Club boasts a unique and welcoming atmosphere. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com to book your next round on our Arnold Palmer signature course. You'll be glad you did.
It's always truck season at Nimnick Chevrolet. Well, this month, you can save up to 20% off a new Silverado or get financing as low as 2.9%. Now, unlike most dealerships, Nimnick Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground, and it's ready for you to explore. With their extensive selection, you're sure to find the perfect truck at Nimnick. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV with payments starting in the mid-200s. Designed to go the distance, the Silverado EV boasts 440 miles of range, more standard range than any competitor. And remember, Nimnick will always give you the top dollar for your trade, and for a limited time, up to an additional $3,000 in trade assistance. That's right, $3,000. So head to Nimnick today. You can shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or view the dealership right there at Park Street and Cassett Avenue. So who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it, too.
We sure appreciate our friends from Coyle & Sons. The Coyle & Sons Wednesday continues along. Man, they do a great job. They give you that 0% financing if you want to get a fence at your home. For the longest time, they did commercial fencing, the overhead doors, bathroom partitions, and the like. But now they're doing residential fencing, and the word is out, man. People are hiring them. They are really good. When they worked out at our ballpark, our Walk-Off Charities ballpark, the Reagan Baseball Complex, Rob, their fence guy, the time he put into it, and to make sure he got it right. And it wasn't just a fence. This was a 30 by 60 wall, 30 by 70 wall that went up. And the attention to detail for the pricing was amazing. I mean that very sincerely. So if you want to get the fence right. I mean, fencings are important. You don't want the HOA climbing all over you wherever you live. So if you're going to get a fence, you really should call these guys. 904-356-4821 or go to Coyle, C-O-Y-L-E, CoyleJacks.com. The best fence company around, and proud to have a Coyle & Sons Fencing Wednesday, every Wednesday here on the program. I got a fun Jaguar topic we're going to get to at the top of the hour. But I'm going to stay on the baseball thing for at least another minute or two. Brett made a great point that I hadn't thought about. And Ken Babby I do know well, and I'll get Ken's thoughts on this. But the fact that Ken is among the investors, if this thing goes through, and he owns the minor league team here, number one, wouldn't it make perfect sense for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp to switch affiliations? And I don't know how long the contract is with the Marlins, and I don't know how all that works. But I think right now AAA for the Rays is in Durham, which is great. Has great heritage, by the way. It's Durham. It's the Durham Bulls. But wouldn't it make great sense if their AAA was here? A lot of teams like Atlanta's is what, an hour away, right, JJ? Gwinnett?
Yeah, you want to have them close. Yeah. Just so if they get caught up, they can get there the night of the game.
Yeah, so, I mean, Gwinnett is literally an hour from Atlanta, if that. The two stadiums are an hour apart. Wouldn't it be great if the Rays AAA stadium was 3 hours away, which is what would happen here? So that would be cool. If that does happen and Ken's involved in the ownership group, I can't think for a minute, at the very worst, you're not going to have 2 or 3 spring training games here, right? You can't. I'd love to see spring training in Jacksonville. I love spring training. But you couldn't put one team here and say do it. You really would have to have a team in Daytona, a team in Lake City, a team in Gainesville. You'd have to have 3 or 4 teams close together so they could play each other. That doesn't mean they wouldn't make one trip to Lakeland to play the Tigers. That doesn't mean they wouldn't make one trip across the state or down the state and play 2 games. But for the most part, if you ever look at the map in Arizona, JJ, you've probably done this. Every one of those teams are right in that Scottsdale
I didn't know
area.
that until you just said that.
Yeah, they're close together. However many, the 15 teams that are there, they're all within an hour's drive. All of them, all 15. Like here, you have 2 sides of the state. You have a lot of the teams on the west, the Rays and the Braves and a bunch of those teams. You got a lot of teams on the west, the east, the Marlins, the Cardinals, the Mets. They're all on the East Coast, and they cross over once during spring training. And the team, by the way, that gets squeezed the most are the Tigers, because they're right in the middle. The Tigers are in Lakeland, so they got to drive either way, whether they go west or east. Used to be they were when the Astros were in Kissimmee and when the Braves were at Disney, then at least there were 3 of them kind of lumped together. But now the Astros aren't in Kissimmee anymore and the Braves aren't in Disney anymore. So Lakeland has a wonderful complex. I don't know if you remember, we were there. You remember that when we did our spring training trip? It was a great stop. But in fact, JJ, I will tell you that the day we did our show there, Kate Upton was there. Remember that?
Ooh,
out there,
Verlanders.
kind of out in the parking lot. I remember Lauren Brooks going, "Is that Kate Upton?"
She's probably a fan of the show.
Yeah, it's no doubt. And I said, "I don't think so." Lauren goes, "No, I think that's Kate Upton." And we looked right over and go, "I'll be damned." She's like,
I'll be damned.
That's Kate Upton, like right kind of where we were broadcasting the show from. So the point is, Lakeland's kind of stuck in the middle now, right? So they got to figure that out. So I don't know that Jacksonville could have a spring training site, although wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be just freaking awesome?
Be phenomenal.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't think that could happen because you'd need more than one team here. There were conversations not long ago about a group, a conglomerate, that wanted to launch spring training in Daytona, where it used to be. The Expos used to train there. Jacksonville, I think I want to say Lake City. If I remember this right, there were 4 cities. There would have to be 4. Was Gainesville one maybe? I know it was Jacksonville, Daytona, maybe St. Augustine. Do you remember this at all? Hayes, do you remember this story? It was Jacksonville. The conversation was Jacksonville, Daytona, I want to say Lake City, and one other kind of northeast Florida city. I don't think it was Fernandina. I think it might have been St. Aug. It might have been Gainesville, a 4th one. But that's what you would have to do. So I don't think you could have spring training proper here. But I do think if Ken's involved in this ownership group, I can't imagine that he wouldn't want a handful of games here.
Oh, it'd be great, yeah, if that's able to materialize, and it would certainly be great for the organization too, in terms of if you've got a star player in the last stages of a rehab assignment, it'd be great to have him here and things like that. Be able to go watch a big time player,
Acuna or something.
Yeah, I mean, whoever the Rays have that would qualify for that,
or whoever they play,
yeah. So I mean that you get now, because the Jumbo Shrimp will have opponents that come in and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it would be anything that is more sports in this city is a great thing. And so, I mean, hopefully something like that is able to materialize.
And spring training would be right after football, so it'd be like the perfect filler for 2 or 3 months.
But I'm also happy for the state in general, that, because I thought the Rays were definitely leaving and going to a place like Nashville or something like that. So, it's good. It's good that it appears like they will they'll still be in the state, stay in Tampa and build something nice.
Yeah, and I will tell you again, just so you wonder what we're talking about. The story, the first I saw the story, it broke on Sportico, which is really good, and it said, and I'm gonna again, so we're not claiming the story. Let me read it verbatim. The Tampa Bay Rays, this is according to Sportico, the Tampa Bay Rays are in advanced talks to sell the team to a group led by Jacksonville developer Patrick Zalewski. The deal values the team at roughly $1.7 billion, according to multiple sources who asked not to be named. Zalewski has signed a letter of intent to purchase the team. Now, an LOI is not a purchase agreement, so it could fall through, but he has signed a letter of intent to buy the team from Stu Sternberg. And it also goes on to say that there are minority investors, and one of which is Jumbo Shrimp owner Ken Babby. So truly exciting stuff, which would be interesting. By the way, he obviously Babby owns the team in Akron too, but the fact that he owns the Jumbo Shrimp is what's interesting. There's also a guy named Bill Cosgrove, who I don't know who that is, but I didn't know who he was. He's the CEO of Union Home Mortgage, and that would be the other investor. And oh, by the way, Union Home Mortgage has been the title sponsor of the Gasparilla Bowl, which obviously is played in Tampa every year. So he's got Tampa connections. So I don't think there's much chance that the Rays are leaving the Tampa area. What it does tell you is, and by the way, we talk about how much fun this is because it's the guy we all kind of know who he is around here. This is, to your point a minute ago, Hayes, it's gigantic news for Tampa. This is the gigantic news for the Tampa Bay area, which might have been on the cusp of losing its team. I think you could it's pretty clear now, this group, I say clear now, I guess that's not true, but I would guess there's not much chance this group is moving that team. And probably the next thing they do is let's go to work on building that stadium in that Ybor City area.
That's what I would think. You're right. We shouldn't assume it, that's the plan, but it certainly feels like that's probably where it's headed, which is a good thing for the state.
Yeah, it really is a good thing for the state. So we'll continue to track the story. I was thinking, so back to Jacksonville for a second. I've always believed if Jacksonville added a second professional sports team, a major league team at the highest level, it would be hockey. I don't know why I believed that. It just seems to fit,
Well, it's the easiest to get.
It's the easiest.
So that
correct.
helps.
And I think we've done well with hockey here.
And it's a transient population here,
right,
which the Jaguars have pointed out, over the years. And so while people like me that are from, us that are from here, that never really grew up with hockey, there are a lot of people that move here that are diehard hockey fans and would absolutely embrace having a hockey team here.
Yeah.
But again, the bar is lower. It's easier to support an NHL team as opposed to an NBA team or Major League Baseball, something like that.
What I wonder is, and again, it's not on the table, but for the sake of the conversation, how close, and I apologize for if this is an ignorant question to people that know hockey way better than I do, which is most people, how close is our arena to being one that could handle hockey on a regular basis? I wonder that.
What is the arena host here?
12 or 13.
I would.
You need to get to 20.
It would be
20 the number.
Build. I would
You'd have
think
to build
you would
a 20,000
to build a new arena.
I would too. I would too. I would, but I don't know. But I would think that too. I would think they're no different than the NBA, Major League Baseball, football. They want beautiful new buildings.
Our arena is now what, like 22 years old?
Probably in there somewhere.
Yeah.
So build a new one on the river.
That's
that
what
seats
I would
20.
think.
Right. That's what Me too. But it did. What you do know is baseball's not coming here. But if it did, you'd build a brand new stadium. You're not renovating.
Correct.
As much as we love the ballpark, you're not renovating the ballpark. Right. You're building a brand new one. And so I would imagine. Do the hockey teams, and again, JJ, maybe you know this, are their capacities 18 to 20 like the NBA teams are generally?
I know the Panthers and Heat play in different venues.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's because of
Sunrise. The Panthers play in Sunrise.
But I don't know if that may have just been a development thing more than we can't have them share, because obviously like Madison Square Garden
right
hosts
Yeah.
NHL.
Well,
Yeah, I'm going through them all right now, and they're like pretty much exactly the same as you said. 19,000, 18,000, you know. And
like an NBA team.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like an NBA team. Yeah, so I would think that. And by the way, the Heat play downtown now. The Panthers still play out west. They play at Sunrise, you know, which has been
a different city, really.
And it's been there, correct. And it's been there for a long time. It's been out there by that Sawgrass Mills outlet thing and it's out by the football stadium. It's not far from the football stadium because the Joe Robbie or whatever they're calling it now, Hard Rock, it's west too.
It's in like Lauderdale, Miami Gardens.
Well,
really.
Miami Gardens, right? But it's west of the town, so it'll be interesting. So,
we have more breaking news about team sales, and this one's big. This is from Sham Sharania. The Buss family is entering an agreement to sell the majority ownership of the Lakers.
Wow.
So Mark Walter, the CEO and chairman of diversified holding company TWG Global.
How about that?
Jeannie Buss will continue to serve in her role as governor after the sale, but obviously they won't have as much control. That's big.
How about the Lakers being sold?
I mean, what's the number on that?
How about
a little bit bigger than the Rays.
$4 billion?
Yeah,
what would you guess?
least.
I would think it's got to be. I mean, what do they estimate? Like the Cowboys would go for what, $10 billion, something like that?
It might be half.
Los
that.
Angeles
So what's the record?
Lakers?
I want to say the record for an NBA is maybe 4. So maybe the Lakers go for 7.
The Celtics just got sold, right? So
yeah, that's true. That would definitely be the one to start.
How about that?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it looks like every team.
$6 billion for the Celtics.
So the Lakers will go for 7.
10,
I would
maybe.
think.
How about
maybe
7 or 8,
maybe even more.
The Buss family is going to sell the Lakers. How about that? Amazing stuff. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I got a Jaguar topic for you. It's going to be kind of fun. It's which Jaguar player might be a star that has not been talked about as a guy who might be a star. I'm going to go through some names. I'm going to get you to weigh in on a bunch of names. You want to do that?
Sounds fun.
We'll talk Jaguars football after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Fans first.
I was born a Jags fan and I'm Duval till I die.
Jaguars pride forever. Duval! 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. Went smooth as silk. Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Me a year for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet, and you know how much I love it. My family is obsessed. With summer here, why not finally create that custom garage workspace you and your dad want? Think tool storage, workbenches, a place for everything to go. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes all you guys. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. ClosetsByDesign.com.
Attention business owners and property managers. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Is your property ready? Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter for expert storm drain cleaning and hydrojetting. Our powerful VACCON truck clears the way so your drains flow freely when the rain hits. Call 904-862-6769 today to schedule your service and protect your property before the storms start rolling in. Duck Duck Rooter, your trusted name in storm drain maintenance. Visit us at duckduckrooter.com. We are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
If you need to
game plan for the weekend, I'll tell you my takes for some of the weekend's best options. 1010XL's Dan Hicken here. Watch for Musings with the Media Mogul on YouTube and Facebook. Turned on by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
It's the event everyone waits for. Now at Beard's Diamonds. Buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. Now for a limited time, when you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000. Are you about to get married or been married for years thinking it's time for an upgrade? There's nothing that symbolizes your love more than the wedding band. Beard's has hundreds and hundreds of bands from top designers in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands, pave set, eternity bands. And for men, masculine bands, wide, modern, with and without diamonds, hammered, brushed, engraved, lots of colors. Come to Beard's now and find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beard's can. And it's happening now through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol. Beard's Diamonds at St. John's Town Center.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y, summer camps every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited, and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. The 4th is a few weeks away, and I know what you're thinking. I can't start Awaken 180 weight loss because I want to eat on the long 4th of July weekend. Well, guess what? You can eat hamburgers on Awaken 180 weight loss. You can eat chicken, steak, or pork, too. You can even eat lobster because you're eating real food and losing weight. More important, it's fast, easy, and safe. No chemical shots, no counting calories or points, or any other fad diet. I can't stress this enough. You eat real food every single day. You know what else you're doing while losing weight with Awaken 180? Eliminating pain, fitting into clothes you haven't worn in years, sleeping through the night and waking up refreshed and energized and happy. I lost 40 pounds in 9 weeks on Awaken 180, and Hacker lost more than 110. And you know what? You can lose whatever you want. It doesn't matter what your goal weight is. Awaken 180 weight loss will get you there quickly and safely by eating real food every single day. Awaken 180 weight loss is the clear path to success without disappointment. Give them a call, 844-346-1800, or go online, awaken180weightloss.com.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by First Coast YMCA. The Jumbo Shrimp began their series with the Syracuse Mets up in New York last night, winning 6-4, thanks to a Jacob Berry 3-run shot in the 9th to give the Shrimp their 7th win in a row. They'll be back in action tonight at 6:35 with Connor Gillespie pitching for the Shrimp. Gillespie's 3-0 on the season and has a 4.85 ERA. PGA Tour has another signature event coming up this weekend. It's the Travelers Championship up in Connecticut, hosted at TPC River Highlands. Former Florida State Seminole Luke Clanton will make his second start on tour as a professional tomorrow, looking to make his first cut as a member of the PGA Tour. Clanton is set to tee off tomorrow afternoon at 1:55 alongside Jordan Spieth. It's 88 degrees at 4:59, time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it, too.
We sure appreciate our friends from Coyle & Sons. Again, if you need fencing, if you need those overhead doors for your company, nobody does a better job. They've been doing those forever. Bathroom partitions. They can build so much for you. Again, I had to build a batter's eye, which is a big wall behind center field, and you can't imagine what a good job they did. You can trust the people at Coyle & Sons. My buddy Eric bought the company not long ago. He's grown the company. He's grown kind of their mission, and man, oh man, they're better than ever. Call them at 904-356-4821. That's 356-4821. You can get on the website, coiljacks.com. And again, this folks you can trust. Everyone needs fences. If you need fence, if your dog's getting a little bit bigger, if you're moving to a new home, they are the best in the business. Coyle & Sons Fence Company. Frangie, Carline, JJ LaSelva with you. By the way, I'm going to get to my Jaguar topic, but how do you rain out a game at 5 o'clock that's supposed to start at 7?
That must be some bad weather.
The Tigers and the Pirates were rained out. Don't they know I have got no life and I need this?
Maybe this is actually Rob Manfred stepping in and making sure we get a Skeens versus Skubal matchup tomorrow.
So
I wouldn't put it past him.
So Skeens was supposed to pitch tonight. Tarek Skubal, who's the other, he's the left-handed American League.
So
Skeens,
good.
was pitching tomorrow. Well, now it's going to be 2 games tomorrow, 1:10 and 5:40. My guess is Skeens will be backed up a day. Skubal was already pitching the 1:10 game, so we could see that tomorrow. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be.
Maybe the 2 best pitchers in baseball.
Over under on runs for that game, 2.5.
Yeah, I would. You know what? I'd probably if you set it at 3, I'd probably go under.
Yeah.
If you set it at 3, I mean, there's the two Cy Young winners facing each other, so that's what you would have. So interesting.
Yeah, it's not a great night for sports watching tonight.
No, so I'm not happy about the rain out. Just so you know.
Although you got College World Series, I guess.
The LSU Arkansas, which is a pretty good game tonight.
And of course, the Braves are back.
The Braves are back. They're back.
1-game winning streak. I will say it was like the win of the season last night against the Mets. Good comeback in the 8th.
Yeah, how about that? So Braves
that could be the spark.
That's what I'm saying. You can't win 10 in a row unless you win 1 in a row.
Yep.
So I'm going to go through players on the Jaguar team that nobody expects, and maybe stars are too strong, but nobody necessarily expects to be a significant contributor at the very least. And I'm going to give you a bunch of names. Tell me what you thought. A lot of these names are ones I've either heard that they may like them more than you like. We laugh about the De'Ami Brown thing, but I've heard even before he got on the field that they loved him. So that he would be an example if I hadn't talked about him 78 times already. But so that's kind of great. You ready?
Yes.
Monteric Brown. Could he be a factor for them this year?
I don't think so.
Tell me why.
I think he's a good story, but I would be surprised if Monteric Brown ends up. I just think he's limited, and I think while he's had a great off season and things like that, I think it will be a little bit of a different story in the regular season for Monteric.
The very interesting thing to me is what do they do at cornerback opposite Tyson Campbell when they're in base? Okay. Will they play? Because Jordan Lewis was brought here to be the nickel. Well, there's no debating that. We all know that. They told us that. But when they're in base, meaning a nickel isn't on the field, does he just bounce outside and be the opposite corner against Tyson Campbell? Or does Jarian Jones win that job in nickel and then keep it even when they're in base, and which would mean Jordan Lewis isn't on the field? How much does Travis Hunter play over there? And Monteric Brown is the next guy up. How much does he play? That's an intriguing storyline to me. You're playing the Panthers week 1, and it's you're and they start out in 21 personnel, 2 backs. So you're now not in nickel. Who's the other cornerback? Who's the cornerback opposite Tyson Campbell?
I think it's going to be Travis Hunter.
You do,
but assuming for the argument, it's not.
Yeah, assuming assuming it's not him starting the game.
I would say, I think it'll probably be Lewis.
I do too.
I do too. I think he can.
If they played today,
handle it.
Yeah, if they played today, I think it would be Jordan Lewis. Again, he was brought here to be the nickel. I'm pretty convinced of that. But if you're in base a lot of the game, I don't think he was brought here to not play.
Right.
And so I think that too. But Monteric Brown's an interesting one, so keep an eye on that.
He certainly has gotten a lot of buzz. I mean, without a doubt. But I don't think stardom is in his future.
Bashil Tutin.
Love him. I think Bashil Tutin is going to be their leading rusher. I'm not concerned about, the fact that, he's a rookie and still has a lot to learn. Well, they still have training camp. I mean, it's not like they play tomorrow. So I think Bashil Tutin's going to be a huge factor as a rookie. And I think he will lead them in rushing. So thumbs up for me on Tootin.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a good player too. I think he will impact their season, which is where I'm going here. I don't know that I see him starting ahead of Etienne and Bigsby early in the year, but I think he will somehow, some way, whether it's injury, whether he gains traction and playing time as the season goes along. I think Bayshul too, and I think he might wind up being their. Moving forward, he might wind up being their lead back. I think that's kind of where you're going with that. I don't know if it's this year, but I think I think that too. Ventrell Miller.
I'll say I think he sort of remain steady. I see upside in him, but I don't think we'll see a quantum leap forward. But I think he'll have a steady year.
The hardest thing to predict with him is will he be on the field? It's Anthony Richardson on defense almost. The hardest thing for me to predict with Ventrell Miller is will he be on the field? I think that's because if he starts and finishes 16 games, I think he's a star. But I don't know that he can. That has been a problem since he was in college. And they love Jack Kaiser, who's going to push I doubt he's pushing Aluakon this year. I don't know that he won't be their middle linebacker of the future, but I doubt he's their middle linebacker this year because Aluakon's a good player. But I tell people this all the time. In a 4-3, there's this theory, if you haven't thought about it, that there's the middle linebacker and two outside linebackers. But it's really not like that. The 4-3 is no different than a 3-4 in that the Mike and the Will are very similar positions. And then the Sam is an outside linebacker. So, and I think Kaiser will back up both of those guys when it starts, but I think he's got a chance to be a pretty good player. Caleb Ransaw.
I think he'll probably have a up and down rookie year, but I think ultimately in years to come he will become very good.
Will he be a start? Will he be a starting safety at any point in the 2025 season?
Yes, I think he will be. Probably the back half. But so I think he will get there, but I don't think he'll be viewed as a star as a rookie.
The really interesting thing is Eric Murray is going to be one of their starting safeties. In base. Well, Dewey Wingard, who's a good player. Andrew Wingard's a good player. He doesn't have top-end speed or top-end talent, but make no mistake about the fact he's a good football player. So does he hold off a guy like Ransaw? And then what happens with Savage and Antonio Johnson? There's a lot of guys in the room, right? So what happens with those other guys? But I think it's an interesting storyline. I think you're about right. I think Ransaw is going to be a starting safety here for a while. It may take a while to get it going. Jarian Jones.
I see a difficult road. I don't know that this system fits him well. Even by his own admission, maybe he'll be a quick study on it. And I like him as a player, but I think I'm not expecting big things from Jarian this year.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a major factor. Now again. To say what I said when we started this topic with Monteric Brown, it's going to be interesting to me how they play that at the quarterback spot. But I think he's a pretty good player. I think what they have to figure out is what is he? He wants to play outside. When Jarian was here in the building, when I talked to him about that just off air. He was here with helmets and heels, and he was sticking around the building for a while. And I said, he said, yeah, they've told me, as he said on the air, they've told me I got to crack it outside. And he really wants to play outside. He doesn't want to be a nickel. So I think he's going to get a look. I see him as a factor, but I think there's probably a ceiling on how good he can be. But I like him. I'm intrigued, very much so. Brenton Strange.
Big year. I don't think he'll be a star tight end, but I think he'll be somebody that firmly establishes himself within the offense. And, again, you go back to it. It's just there's only so many receptions to go around. If you figure that Brian Thomas Jr. is a good bet to be around 100, and I have to think Travis Hunter is going to be around 50, 60. De'Ami Brown's probably going to be somewhere between, 35 and 45. You're starting to run out of, Trevor Lawrence isn't going to complete 400 passes. So, but I do think Brenton Strange will play well enough that he will be a popular player to the fans. I think he'll be somebody that, is on the radar in the fantasy football community and will be somebody that is talked about, is still an emerging young talent at the position nationally. So, I mean, I don't think he'll be close to like a Pro Bowl or anything, but I think Brenton Strange will take advantage of the opportunity in front of him.
He's only 24 years old, to your point. Here's what's interesting. There's 3 tight ends on this team. They wear numbers 84, 85, 86. Their numbers are all sequenced. Hunter Long, who they brought in as a free agent. Johnny Munt, who they brought in as a free agent. And Brenton Strange, who most believe and hope it's his time to step up. I don't know how any of the 3 are going to be deployed. I mean, with Evan Ingram, you knew how he was deployed. He was the move tight end. He was a slot guy that was almost like a wide receiver. You knew Luke Farrell was going to put his hand on the ground and he was going to be the inline tight end. So Luke Farrell was the starting tight end that's almost a 6th offensive lineman. Evan Ingram was the starting move tight end that's almost a wide receiver. So you got Farrell, who's almost a lineman, and Ingram, who's almost a receiver. Now I got 3 guys, I don't know what they are. I don't know what Johnny Munt is. I don't know what Hunter Long is. I don't know what Brenton Strange is. I do know that's the 3 guys that are going to play. And so I'm very interested to see. Conventional thinking is Strange will be the closest thing they had to an Ingram. That doesn't mean he's going to be Evan Ingram, because Evan Ingram's good, a special player. But it'll be very interesting, at least for me to see. Mason Smith, what are your expectations?
I have really high expectations for Mason Smith this season. I think he is somebody that can establish himself as, a 5.5 to 7.5 sack kind of player. And if he does that, he is going to be a force, and he will be exactly what they need to take a big step forward defensively. And because he'll do wonders for Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. So now I'm all in on Mason Smith. I'm encouraged. I think he's learned what it takes at this level. I think he's fully healthy, from that knee injury in college from I guess now 3 football seasons ago. And so I think Mason Smith has a chance to have a big, big year in terms of breakout.
In a perfect year, Devon Hamilton starts as your nose guard, your 2-gap guy. Eric Armstead is your 3 technique. Mason Smith backs up Eric Armstead and maybe wins the job at some point during the season. And then Tyler Lacey and Jordan Jefferson can rotate in and out of there at that nose guard with Devon. That's your perfect world. Now, it's never that clean. Someone gets hurt. One of those guys is going to have to play multiple positions at those 2 defensive tackle spots. But that's your perfect world. So if that perfect world happens, Hayes, then it's just Eric Armstead's the 3 technique and Mason Smith's the backup, and then the young guy wins the job midseason. That's the perfect world. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. I think he'll get there in time. I'm not sure it's there yet. Last guy is Wyatt Milam, the left guard from West Virginia. What are your expectations in the 25 season?
My expectations are that he's the week 1 starter at left guard. I think he's going to supplant Ezra Cleveland, and Again, we haven't seen him practice one time with pads on, but so this is more about what I think about the incumbent more than it is about Milam specifically as a Jaguar. But looking at him as a prospect and where they took him in the draft, you don't normally take 3rd-round interior offensive linemen and don't play them immediately. So I think it lines up well for Milam, and I have a lot of trust that Liam Cohen knows exactly what he wants out of his offensive line. And I never had that sense with Doug Peterson. But I think Liam Cohen specifically has a vision for each one of those guys. And I think that vision was communicated to James Gladstone and the coaching staff. And I think they zeroed in on Wyatt Milam, and I think he is going to be the starting left guard week 1. And I think he's probably going to have a great career here.
I think Milam, the last thing you said I agree with. I think he's going to be their left guard for a long time. I don't think he starts the season as their left guard. I think that'll be Ezra Cleveland. We'll wind up with Steve. All right, some Jaguar talk. We'll take a break. Hayes has headlines after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
It sure is great living in the Sunshine State. And I remember Florida. It sure is great living on the First Coast. Jacksonville Sports Radio is 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Mosquito season is upon us, but don't let them take over. The secret to a bite-free yard is starting today with Kingfish Pest Control. Their 3-step mosquito defense process stops them before they can spread. Eliminate breeding areas. Build a protective barrier around your yard and monthly treatments to keep them away all season long. The earlier you start, the fewer mosquitoes you'll have to fight. Don't let those pests ruin your outdoor fun. Call Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Frangie here for Bono's Pit Barbecue. Bono's has been serving Jacksonville's best barbecue since 1949. Now, to thank all their loyal customers, Bono's is bringing back their Club 49 card. You can get a $500 gift card for only $350. That's a savings of $150. You can purchase your Club 49 card at any of the Bono's locations around town. And you'll want to get to Bono's soon to get the spring wing deal. You get 6 wings and a side for just $11.99. Head to Bono's, and remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
I'm Julie Harrell. I grew up here in Jacksonville and have seen our city grow as well as the number of car crashes. If you need help after a crash, choose a law firm with an actual office here. Lawyers you can meet with face-to-face and who specialize in personal injury. At Harrell & Harrell, we've been here for nearly 40 years, developing relationships with local doctors, law enforcement, helping people just like you. If you've been injured in a crash, call Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
It's a battle for the playoffs as your Sharks take on the first place Steam Wheelers. Catch all the action this Saturday, June 21st at 7. Discover the thrill of indoor football. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and full of family fun. Try the new 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700.
Prosser here. Come cheer on the Sharks as they circle a playoff bid. It's Star Wars night presented by HCA Florida Healthcare. Dress up in your favorite costume. Get photos with your favorite Star Wars characters before the game. The first 1,000 kids get a free lightsaber. Join us on the field after the game for a free autograph session and special jersey auction. Tickets start at just $15. Call 904-621-0700. That's 904-621-0700. Sharks football, where memories are made. Go Sharks!
When you want to be heard, send your opinion to the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
Thank you for believing in me when the bosses didn't give me a chance.
641-1010. No texting and driving. Get your thoughts heard on 1010XL.
It's ET here, and did you know that slow speed accidents can still cause serious injuries? Ignoring minor pain today can mean big problems tomorrow. Don't wait. Call my guys at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center, the auto accident experts.
It's tune-up time, and Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars, wants to partner with you for a cool summer season. Tune up your AC unit right now so it's running at peak performance when you need it most. Just call 777-4300 and order a tune-up for just $59. Keep your unit humming at optimal level. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com and take advantage of their savings. Keep cool with Florida Home AC. That's 777-4300.
The SEC and the ACC will face off in Jacksonville at the 81st TaxSlayer Gator Bowl game December 27th at 7:30 p.m. Join us for Saturday Night Football in prime time at the bank. Preferred locations and pricing available now at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
Keep
Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents. Look no further, though, than I-9 Sports, covering Duval, St. John's, and Clay to get your youngster in the game. Summer and fall registration open right now for flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball. Plus, girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. Fields and gyms all over the First Coast. And the best thing is I-9 Sports offers sports year-round so kids can always find something to do. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Send your favorite person a sweet summer surprise today from Kuhn Flowers, creating memories for over 70 years. This is JJ, and it's just so easy. Order online at kuhnflowers.com, Jacksonville and Ponte Vedra.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round. It's Hayes' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hayes Carline.
Thank you to our friends at Harrell and Harrell. Give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, we're going to start with Major League Baseball, which we don't often do in headlines, but big news today. A group led by Jacksonville's Patrick Zalupski is in advanced talks to buy the Tampa Bay Rays for $1.7 billion.
Yeah, it's a really exciting story. I don't know Patrick, but everybody that does, and a lot of my friends do know him well, speak very highly of him. A very successful business person, a really good guy. Dan Hicken knows him well. A lot of my Jaguar friends know him really well. And look, I think he'd be a great owner. Ken Babby, the Jumbo Shrimps owner, according to the stories you read, is involved in the ownership group, as are a few other business people. And as much fun as we have talking about, hey, the team's coming to Jacksonville, that's not where I think this is headed. I think where this is headed is the right guy to buy the Rays. And I think then they have to talk about building a stadium in Tampa. And I think that's what will happen. But it does make you wonder if Ken's involved. Will the Jumbo Shrimp become the AAA affiliate of the Rays instead of the Marlins? Will we get a spring training game or two here? That's how I think it could affect Jacksonville. But good for Patrick and good for the Rays. I think that's good for the Rays, and I think it's ultimately going to be good for Tampa.
And the Rays might have, if this deal goes through, I mean, they may be on their way to a decade of really good times.
Well, can you imagine if you stay as good as they are? The Rays are really good at it. They're good at baseball. Their front office knows how to develop. They wind up selling everybody off because the guy won't pay anybody. So to where you're going with the question, I hear you. What if you have this front office that's so good and an owner that's willing to pay a little bit? Then look out. I think that's where you're going with the question. And
Absolutely.
I completely agree with it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's get it to college baseball. The College World Series is going on right now. Coastal Carolina, what an impressive story they have become. They lead Louisville 10-3 in the 8th inning. Coastal Carolina looking to move to 3-0 in Omaha and advance to the title series. LSU and Arkansas play tonight at 7 in an elimination game for Arkansas.
Yeah, I try to tell people this that don't know college baseball. They hear Coastal Carolina, it's a school you've barely heard of, and they think, wow. Let me be clear about this. This is not Drexel. This is Gonzaga. Understand that. Okay. Would anybody ever be surprised when Gonzaga's in a Final Four, wins a title? No. Coastal's already won a title. Just 8 years ago, they won the national championship. It's a really good program and a really good team. And honestly, the only reason they're the 13th overall seed is because they couldn't have a good RPI because nobody plays them. Nobody wants to play them. So it's a really good program. They're up 10-3. They're winning easily now. They'll be in the final series against LSU and Arkansas, two really good teams. And if you love college baseball, that's a good one tonight now. That's an elimination game for Arkansas, and that is a good one tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be intense for certain. It's going to be fun. Let's get it to the NFL. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson spoke for the first time since the 27-25 loss to the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round. Says the team is looking for vengeance. Is he under the most pressure to win a championship of any player in the NFL in your mind?
That's a great question. I hadn't thought about it, Hasty. You just asked it that way, but I see where you're going with it. If not the most, he's right up there. Josh Allen is on that same list, the Buffalo Josh Allen. I think they're the two guys you get talked about enough, but they don't make it to very many Super Bowls. So yeah, I think they both would qualify. I think Lamar Jackson is really good. I think other than Patrick Mahomes, I know you thought Josh Allen's way better. I'm probably in a minority there, but I don't know there's a whole lot of players I'd rather have on my team because of all the things he can do. But yeah, there's a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson. I don't think there's any question there. That grouping of Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, I'm not going to put Justin Herbert in it yet. Not for me, even though he had a very good year. But that grouping of those three guys who are all kind of chasing Mahomes in the conference is a really interesting grouping, isn't it? And it'll be fun to see the way it plays out.
It feels like Michael Jordan in the 90s.
It does.
With all these other great players that never got to win a title.
Because of Michael Jordan.
Because of Jordan.
Great call. It does seem like that.
It'll be interesting. The Ravens did take a step towards fortifying their great roster even more. They signed cornerback Jair Alexander to a one-year deal today. Alexander obviously had a very decorated career in Green Bay.
Yeah, it was interesting to see who wound up with him. My guess was it was going to be a perennial contender. I don't know that I would have guessed the Ravens, but if you'd have told me to pick 4 or 5 teams, they probably would have been on the list. He was going to go to a contender, and he's going to make them a lot better.
In the world of the NBA, leave it up to the NBA to upstage its own finals. But the Lakers are being sold. The Buss family will sell to Mark Walters Group for a reported $10 billion. The Celtics sold earlier this year for $6.1 billion. So this is remarkable money that Walters Group is investing to purchase the Lakers, but it's one of the best brands in American sports.
How about Bird and Magic's teams both getting sold in the same year?
Isn't that
it really
unbelievable?
It really is. And so I think the Lakers might be as recognizable a brand as there is in sports. The one exception is the Cowboys, because the NFL is so much bigger than the NBA. But as far as just the brand, the logo, the colors, the fact that it's Showtime, the fact that they're in LA and Nicholson and the like are always at the games, that is a really recognizable. That's
around the world.
Around the world.
If you
good point.
In Italy, you just saw Lakers stuff everywhere.
Yeah, it's a powerful brand, man. And Mark Walters is getting that brand.
No doubt about it. Let's get it to those NBA Finals. Game 6 is tomorrow night. The Thunder favored by 6.5. What's an early thought on what we'll see tomorrow night?
The doggone. We had this conversation, and JJ, I'll defer to you too in a moment to get your thoughts because you follow it closer than I do. But we've talked about this. The Pacers just refuse to die, and they're the boxer that's probably not going to win, but he's going to take you to 12 rounds, and you're going to win, but you're not going to want the rematch. That's who they are. But I think with Halliburton hurt at best, out at worst, JJ, I can't imagine them hanging around even at home.
Yeah, with Halliburton healthy, I would have said, they're going to win and force a Game 7 because that's what they've been doing this entire playoffs, is proving us wrong. But without Halliburton, it's going to be so hard. Like, the line already jumped a few points. I think Oklahoma City does. By the way, the 3 days or 2 days between all these games, I don't know. I don't remember it being like this.
It does seem spread out.
Yeah, I hate that. They should be playing tonight.
Yeah, it used to be 3 games, but 3 days, but then 2 days.
Travel
Yeah. It does feel spread out. I agree with that.
I would agree as well. So we will wait to see if the NBA season ends tomorrow night. I agree with you guys. I think it probably does. In the world of college basketball, national champion Florida coach Todd Golden met with reporters yesterday and was asked about who's going to be the leaders now that Walter Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, and Will Richard have moved on, and said, don't be surprised if it's the front court ready to take more of a leadership role this year with Condon and Houck.
Yeah, and to that end, Brett Hastings was in here with us. We were talking during the break, and he's a big Gator basketball fan like we are, and he said he read a story about Boogie Fland. I haven't seen it. And he said Fland was saying what impressed him as much as anything was the leadership of Tommy Houck, because he strikes you as that guy. I mean, he was the Tebow fan, right? He's very emotional. You've seen that. I would agree with that. I will tell you, I can't remember. I guess the 06-07 season when Florida was trying to repeat and did felt like this. It's just been so long, I don't remember it. But this season, they're going to play the toughest schedule in the country, it sounds like. And they got, if you have the SEC plus Duke and UConn, it's tough. I mean, before you even get to Arizona or Miami or the rest of them, so they're going to play they're going to be one of the most televised teams in America. They're the defending title holder. They're one of the hottest coaches going. They're going to be really good. Have we ever had a Florida basketball season where throughout the season they were Duke, they were Alabama football? We've had it in football, but if we ever had it in basketball,
just the one year.
Well,
certainly the repeat year they were.
It probably was. You're right.
They were like on a pedestal
they were the
that no one else was close to.
But yeah, that's probably right. That's the only.
And
year.
it almost burdened them too much.
Right.
I mean, I think they lost 3 games in a row in late January that year.
They did. And
then were able to sort of pull it together, and then they dominated. But it weighed on them midway through the year.
But they are one of the most. They're going to be the most talked about team, and just with the nationally televised games, with the title, defending it, it's really interesting stuff.
Todd Golden was asked about that schedule, and his explanation was, it's an honor to be asked to play major non-conference games like Arizona, UConn, and Duke.
Yeah, but what about, they're playing Arizona, UConn, and Duke. Oh, by the way, they're playing 18 games in the SEC in what has clearly become the best basketball conference in many years. Wow.
It's certainly going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of that SEC slate, the conference released the men's basketball opponents. So this is what Florida will face. We haven't said this recently, but the league office did the Gators a favor here.
Right.
Florida will play the home and home. They always play Georgia and South Carolina home and home, which I had forgotten. I didn't know that that's like locked in perpetuity.
I didn't know that either.
And then they rotate the third. So
I didn't know that.
So they're home and home.
Said it, I didn't know.
Yeah, with Georgia and South Carolina, which I guess is every year, and then Kentucky, which we knew was going to be the third home and home. Well, the schools coming to Gainesville, Florida gets Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and Arkansas all at home, and does not have to go on the road to face those schools. Florida does go on the road to face schools like Texas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, but an incredibly favorable schedule, which again gets to me, what should be a very important goal for this team. Yes, the NCAA tournament is certainly 95% of the season, but go win the regular season SEC championship. That means something. It should mean something to them. It's the only thing they didn't win last year. They won the SEC tournament. They won the national championship. I hope that is something that Todd Golden emphasizes, winning the SEC regular season title. And I think this schedule gives Florida, you can never have an easy path, but I think this certainly gives it a more advantageous path to winning that title.
Yeah, I'll say this. I agree with you. But I think this might just be the payback from last year. I think last year they went to Alabama, Auburn, and Arkansas and didn't have them at home. Unless I'm forgetting one. I think I know Alabama, Auburn. I know they played at all 3 last year. I don't remember. Do you?
I think Alabama might have been home. And did they play Alabama twice?
I don't remember.
I thought maybe they did. Maybe I'm getting confused.
But I know
because they played them in the SEC.
Yeah,
maybe it was just.
But I know they played at Alabama, at Auburn, and at Arkansas last year.
Right.
So maybe
at Tennessee. Well, Tennessee would have been
home and home. Tennessee was home and home.
So yeah. So the other Alabama, Auburn, and Arkansas would have all been road games.
And now they're all home games. So
I guess it makes sense. Like in football, they just flipped it.
Yeah. So I'm glad. But I agree with you. It'll be an advantage for them.
Absolutely. Let's get to the WNBA. Caitlin Clark mugged on the court last night, but leads the Fever to an 88-71 win over the Sun. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, they're flat out like punching her in the face, and then when she dares to
she got a technical.
It's unbelievable. I mean, do they not know how to officiate in this league? I mean,
do they not know how to treat the only person that anyone cares about in your league well?
She's
crazy.
She's like kind of dazed from the punch and doesn't, kind of know where she is. And then here comes this other player that just flat out knocks her over.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like Siakam against Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
I mean, Caitlin Clark goes flying because she has no idea that this contact is coming. And nothing happens.
Yeah,
she gets the technical.
Yeah, you know what's weird about that? By now, everyone knows the story that longtime WNBA players so the story goes, whether it's true or not. We're resentful that Caitlin Clark got all the attention. We all know by now, whether true or not, that's the narrative. And there's been some hard fouls and whatnot, and the rivalry with Angel Reese, all the stuff. But I thought by now it would be almost like Larry Bird. The NBA resented Larry Bird when he came in this league. This 6'9" country boy that wasn't nearly as athletic and dominant as, and I don't mean just not as athletic as black players. I mean, he just wasn't. He just didn't play like the other white, black, whatever. He didn't play like the other guys did, and he was kind of resented. But before long, they realized how good he was. All the players, all the coaches, all the teams realized how good he was for the league. And before you knew it, every player in the league respected him. Not even the Pistons, even the stuff they went on with the Pistons. I thought by now that would start happening more with Caitlin Clark. It doesn't feel like it has, and I hear you.
I was shocked when I saw it last night. I mean, she's coming off an injury and just gets tackled, basically. I mean, I was stunned by it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm amazed that league can't rein that behavior in.
Yeah, and hopefully...
And they said today no one's going to get suspended from it, so it's going to keep happening.
Well, you hope it's hopefully somebody, and again, it's not about black players, white players. It's not about young players, old players. It's just about Caitlin Clark is the most important player in the history of the league. That's just a reality. She's the most important player in the history of the league because she's brought more attention to that league than anybody who's ever played in it. And hopefully people will come to respect that. I think that's kind of where you're going with this, and I agree with it.
I think everyone respects it except for the league and her fellow players. Yeah. That's what's crazy about it.
I was stunned when I saw it.
It's like, don't you guys realize she's about to up all of your salaries?
Right. Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's get to the NHL. The Florida Panthers defend the title, routing Edmonton 5-1 to win the Stanley Cup in 6 games. The Panthers led the finals for a record 255 minutes and 49 seconds. Florida scored at least 2 first-period goals in every game of the series. The Oilers only led for 33 minutes, 51 seconds. Canada has now gone 32 years without winning the Stanley Cup.
1993. I'll say this. I don't follow it, but I follow enough people to follow it. Well, that Panthers team must be really special. I mean, they beat a really good Edmonton team twice in a row who's got just a magnificently good player who can't get over the top against the Panthers. It's again, there is an irony that the Lightning and the Panthers have been this good. 2 teams in Florida. But congratulations to the Panthers. They were the best team. They were the most deserving team, and they should have won it.
Let's do a pop culture flashback because this week, back in 1960, Psycho was released in theaters. The Alfred Hitchcock classic is 65 years old. Psycho was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. It was made for $807,000, made $50 million at the box office.
Wow.
This is the granddaddy of them all when it comes to the slasher genre.
The first probably that was that slasher. What is in your opinion, the creepiest Hitchcock movie?
I to be honest, I haven't seen, I think he had 11 films. I think I've only maybe seen 2. So I'm not a good guy to ask. What about you?
JJ, you got one?
I've seen Psycho and Birds. That's it.
The Birds are so, I've seen a bunch of them. But the Birds, you've seen the Birds.
Maybe as a kid.
It would even freak you out. It was freaky.
Yeah, it holds up. It's a good movie.
I mean, it really is.
Which is funny because Psycho does not hold up.
Yeah.
If you watch Psycho now, it's laughably bad.
That's because that's because so much happened in the genre after.
Correct. Okay. It's that the film is beautifully done.
Yeah, but
it's just yes, the slasher genre has evolved so much.
The Birds holds up.
Yeah.
When I'm by the pool, I still run inside when the birds when they start flocking in groups.
That's hilarious.
It's a freaky movie, it really is.
We will get you out on our musical note of the day. Happy birthday to Sir Paul McCartney, who turns 83 today. Paul McCartney has written or co-written 32 songs that topped the Billboard chart. McCartney was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1988 with, of course, the Beatles. He was later inducted as a solo performer in 1999. This is Hey Jude, released in 1968. Hey Jude spent a record 9 weeks at #1. That's a record it held for a decade.
What a great song. What a great choice by you. Maybe the greatest song ever written. If you took a poll of greatest song ever written, This is on the ballot.
Yes.
Well done. The
Thanks.
great Paul McCartney. Back to wrap the program after this.
To make it better. And anytime.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Game 6 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals will be tonight in Sunrise as the Florida Panthers take on Edmonton. Florida leading the series 3-2, need one more win to win back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. The Panthers took Game 5 at Edmonton on Saturday. Tonight they're favored by a goal and a half plus 165 on the puck line. Edmonton getting the goal and a half minus 200. The Oilers are plus 125 on the money line. The Panthers minus 145 with the over-under goal total at 6.5 with the over at even money and the under minus 120. As a series line, Florida is minus 400 to win the Stanley Cup. Edmonton will need back-to-back victories, are plus 300. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Plumbing problems, AC not blowing, septic tank doing whatever septic tanks do? Don't call 3 different companies and play contractor roulette. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. We handle plumbing, septic, and air conditioning all under one roof. That's one call, one company, and one bill that won't give you a heart attack. For fast, reliable, and slightly ducky service, call 904-862-6769 or waddle over to duckduckrooter.com. When you're stuck, call the Duck.
Feeling the Florida heat? Make sure your car's AC is ready with help from Big Chief Tire. Frank Frangie here. Right now, get $50 off all AC services at any of their 5 Jacksonville locations. Whether it's a quick recharge or a full repair, their expert technicians will keep you cool and comfortable on the road. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your AC service today and take advantage of this limited one-time offer. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
Jacksonville, Florida. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Prosser here. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That's Loan Pronto. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is an A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now and start the conversation. Go to loanpronto.com or call 999-1508. That's loanpronto.com.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband and wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at goosehead.com.
She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Love is in the air. Beards Diamonds. Listen up, couples. Got you a great offer. Hicken here. For a limited time, buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. That's right. When you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Save up to $10,000, man. Are you about to get married? Been married for years, thinking it's time for an upgrade? Don't miss the deal of the year on the ultimate symbol of love. Beards has hundreds of bands, top designers, white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, titanium, platinum, plain bands, channel set bands. You get the idea. Nobody has a bigger or better selection of wedding bands than Beards. So get to Beards now. Find the wedding band that reflects your style and your personality. Buy one, get the second one free. The big box corporate jewelry stores can't or won't do this, but Beards can, and it's happening through June 23rd. Buy one wedding band, get the second one free. Don't miss this opportunity to celebrate your eternal love with the eternal symbol. For a limited time, buy one, get one free on all wedding bands. That's right. When you buy his wedding band, get hers free. Buy hers, get his free. Shop local. Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey, and I only like to recommend the best, which is why I'm proud to say that I chose Pella Windows and Doors for my own home. And now's a great time to upgrade your home with 0% financing for 60 months. That's 5 years of interest-free payments on the best windows and doors in the business. Don't wait. Schedule a free consultation at PellaJacks.com or visit their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. For quality you can trust and savings you can't miss, that's Pella Windows and Doors.
The best value for golf in Jacksonville remains Cimarron, totally reestablished with new tee boxes, improved fairways and greens, also a brand new restaurant with indoor and outdoor settings, and live music. Join the Wild One loyalty program online at Cimarron Golf. When's the last time you played Cimarron? Cimarron Golf Club on 210, the Wild One.
Summer in Jacksonville is coming in hot. Lauren Brooks here. Beat the heat with Turbo Tint. Their window tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays and keeps your ride cool and comfortable. Book today at orangepark.turbotint.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. 1010
Take.
The 1010 Take is brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck, duckduckrooter.com. We are 3 weeks away from the SEC Media Days, and the ACC Media Days are still around the corner. But I will tell you, we are sitting on perhaps the best college football season, most intriguing in a long, long time. Here's why. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Georgia, as good as they've been over the years, has to play with a quarterback with whom people have some doubts. Alabama is not the same with Nick Saban gone. Clemson's clawing its way back into the picture, but is not there yet. Ohio State lost most of its good players. Florida looks like they may be better than they've been in a long, long time. FSU's coach is probably on the hot seat. We have so much good intrigue to look forward to as this college football season nears, and nobody, for the first time in a long time, knows what to expect. And that's the 1010 Take.
Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Throughout the course of the program today, we talked about Patrick Zalupski, who owns Dreamfinders, heading up a group that also includes Ken Babby, the owner of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, that has signed a letter of intent, according to reports, to buy the Tampa Bay Rays. Does that mean the team's coming here? Probably not. But it does mean that it's good news for Tampa. Maybe they'll build a stadium in Tampa, not St. Pete, which I think is what should happen. It might mean, I've got to ask the question, does it mean that the Rays or that the Jumbo Shrimp become a AAA team of the Rays, not the Marlins? A lot of moving pieces there, but it was a fun topic. Brett Hastings stopped by for Sports and Courts, talked about Shaq being sued for his part in a crypto operation. We talked about that as well. And we went through the Jaguars and talked about young players, which ones might become stars, and that's been our program today. You're off next week, aren't you?
I am.
You're off next week. I'm off the week after that.
How about that?
Then we're going to blink.
Yeah.
SEC Media Days, and it's
here.
Training camp's going to get here really fast. I feel though. Sometimes I feel like, gosh, I wish it would get here. I wish it would get here. And I'm still excited about football, but I just feel like this football season was elongated for us because the coach was fired, and the GM was fired, but not right away. And then the GM was hired, and then then there's the coach hired, but then the GM wasn't hired right away, and then the EVP, our buddy Tony Baselli, was hired, and then the GM was hired, And then the GM became a bit of a rock star for the phraseology and everything else. And then the draft came, and then free agency came around and they were very active. Then the draft came around and they made the biggest move in the draft in years, which made OTAs and minicamp so you know what I mean? So it really stretched out. There weren't new dates. The OTAs and minicamps and draft were all on the same dates they always were, free agency. But it felt stretched out because there were so many new, exciting storylines the whole time that the real offseason didn't begin. Do you feel that way too?
It was the wildest offseason, I think, in the 15 years, last 15 years. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I'm with you. I think we're going to blink and camp's going to be here. I can't wait. I think it's going to be a unbelievably fun football season, and I can't wait for it to start.
All right, let's say hello to Hacker.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
I just realized it's you, me, and JJ next week.
I'm fired up for it.
I am too.
There's
That'll
no
be
doubt.
fun.
I love it a lot. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Hack has been a great fill-in for us when Hayes and I take one of our 25 vacations. So that's
and I think I get the added bonus of filling in with Hayes the following week when you're out.
How about that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That'll be back-to-back weeks.
Dude, you tired of us yet?
No, not at all.
Will you be tired of us
Not
then?
at all.
Okay.
Talk to me in 2 weeks.
Good.
Talk
You know
to me
what?
in 2 weeks.
Good answer.
Yeah.
I'm with you on this. So very good. Hey, what about the race?
Yeah,
you were asking me about that today. We were at an event together.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that on tonight's show. I know you guys did as well. I don't think that necessarily means that, coming here or anything, but it gets you thinking, could Jacksonville support another professional franchise? And I've said for a while now, if it ever does happen, I think it'll be hockey.
We said that today, too.
Because I think there is a hockey crowd here. The Icemen have proven that. The Icemen's attendance is really good in that league.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've always said, and I'll stand by this, the rule of thumb is if you're trying to bring a volume game sport, which is basketball, hockey, where they play 41 home games, or baseball, where they play 81, you have to have more Fortune 500 companies than we have. We have 3, maybe 4. You have to have probably 8 to 10 to have the corporate financial support of suites and corporate tickets and whatnot. So I think it would be hard for any of them. But I've always said the same thing. Hockey's the one that seems to make the most sense, doesn't it?
You would need a new arena because I think the NHL has like an 18,000 seat limit on the size of their arenas.
Yeah,
a minimum, right? And then
I didn't know that. I asked JJ and he looked it up. Most of the teams average 18 to 20.
Yeah. So you would need a bigger arena, and obviously there would be a lot of cost with that and whatnot. But it's an interesting topic because I'm sure a lot of people around the country didn't think Jacksonville would survive as an NFL franchise for 30 years.
Agreed.
And by the way, we're going to be here at least another 30 with that lease and that new stadium coming. So we've proven we can support the biggest league on the planet, or certainly in our country. Could we do it with another league? And I think we probably could in the NHL.
I do too. What's coming up tonight other than that?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. Brian Sexton, Jaguars.com, is going to stop by. We're going to look ahead to training camp, kind of review the offseason a little bit. And we're going division by division leading up to Jaguar training camp this week. It's all about the AFC West. My buddy Seren Petro, Sports Radio 810 in Kansas City. We'll look back on the Chiefs offseason and their new backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew.
Awesome stuff. That sounds like a blast. Say hello to Brian Sexton, our buddy from Jaguars.com. Great work, Hacker.
Thanks, fellas.
Don't go anywhere. Hacker comes up next, so stay right where you have it. We're out of here for now. For Hayes and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.